Are you ready to expand your life and reality? Join us for the next hour with Jamie Bates as she shares life changing thoughts, techniques, and awarenesses to help you expand your reality.
Hello and welcome. I am Jamie Bates, consciousness facilitator and expander of realities. My mission with my radio show is to create greater awareness of what is possible and to expand you beyond the limitations of this reality. I am grateful that you are joining me today. And today I'm diving into this. What's the point? Yeah. So many people are saying this right now. This what's the point? It feels heavy and draining and overwhelming. And lately, just really being aware of how much we are experiencing right now on this planet, how many people are choosing to leave. There's such a heavy energy, and even recently really hearing a lot of people say things like, I'm just so over this reality, what's the point? And today I would like to dive into this. I would like to take you with me as we explore this energy of what's the point, and look at what is going on right now in this reality, and how can we shift this awareness really that we're having of what's the point, and get into the light and the true. If there's one thing that let me see how I want to word this. If there's one thing that I would love, I don't want to say I would, but there's one awareness I can give you today is, if something feels heavy for you, if when you think it, if when you feel it in your body, like when I really looking at this what's the point energy lately, everyone I've talked to, it's like, what's the point, right? And not that it feels like it's them feeling sad for themselves, or I'm not at all saying anyone's being pathetic or anything, but it's like I really feel this vibration of this heaviness within this what's the point paradigm. And so today, anyways, I want to break down that heaviness. I want to really get into my awareness of really what's going on in this reality right now, and really get us into a different space. Now today, this radio show is filmed, it is July 17th, 2019, and we are basically smack dab into the middle of retrograde season, right? We have lots of planets in retrograde. I think there's 5 planets still in retrograde. We're dealing with. We just had a full moon. There's lots of intensity going on right now in this reality, and today I really wanted to dive into my awareness about what's going on right now, along with this what's the point energy, right? And really get us into the lightness of being here. Yeah, it's time that we live in the lightness, guys. It's time that we really perceive what is possible for our lives and really start diving into uh, having the experience that we came here to be. So let's go ahead and get started today, and let's just have you take some nice deep breaths for me. And what we're going to do first here is we're just going to expand out, really get into the space of our being. If you've never listened to this radio show before and you don't know what expanding is, basically, we are going to expand out our being, not our body, okay? Our being is outside of our body. So basically, we have our being and then we have our body. And our body is something that part of us is housed in, right? Our being is inside or outside of the body. So the body is actually within the being. The being is energy, space, and consciousness of who you be. It's all of the everything that you are is stored within your being. So what we're going to do today is we're going to expand out our being, not our bodies. We're going to allow us to really get into the true space of who we be. And this is where all of our points of view, viewpoints, everything that we have decided is real and true in this reality, it's all stored within our being. Everything that we have ever agreed to, everything that we have ever decided, all of this information is all stored within our being. And when we do this radio show, I'm going to do some clearings. I'm going to do some energy shifting so you can get into a different space within your being. So go ahead and take some nice deep breaths. And what we're going to do is put our barriers down, our barriers down, our barriers down, our barriers down. And we're going to go ahead and expand out. Make yourself as big as the state that you're in. Go all the way out and all the way down and all the way up. And go ahead and make yourself as big as the country that you're in. All the way out and all the way down and all the way up. Nice deep breath. And let's go ahead and make ourselves as big as the planet that we're on, as big as planet Earth. Bigger and faster and bigger and faster and bigger and faster and bigger and faster. In the universe. Yeah, as big as the universe actually is. Yeah, nice deep breath. The multiverse, multiple universes. Times that by a million, times that by a million, times that by a million. All the way out to the space of who you be as the infinite being that you be. Yeah, nice deep breath. Let's just really settle into that energy for a moment. Just think about that for a second. You are a multi-universal being. And what we are going through right this current moment is a massive awakening. The spell has been broken, right? The truth is coming out. We are learning so much about the information that has been keeping us asleep. And what we're experiencing right now is a global awakening on so many levels. And what we're experiencing universally right now is this planet is shifting and changing. We are going from this spell that we've been under in the third dimension before 2012, right? The earth was vibrating at the third dimension, which allowed a lot of these old paradigms of limitation to exist. And what we have been experiencing since 2012 is a massive energy upgrade. This planet is vibrating faster and faster at the core, and it is going up through the fourth dimension into the fifth dimension. And that is what we are all experiencing. We're all feeling this energy of of change. We're all feeling this angst to even things maybe we've been doing for 20, 30 years. All of a sudden it's like, okay, this isn't working for me. And what we're perceiving is, and what we have decided is this depression energy or this heaviness or this, this, I'm going to go with what's the point, right? Really, to me, and I know that so many of us are hearing that. So many of us are actually hearing that in our head. What's the point? And one of the things that I would like to maybe even bring you into, or the awareness I would like you to look at here is, what if that is this new energy that's coming in, inviting you into, hey, what's your point? What's the point of this reality for you? Just feel that for a moment. What if it's not this heavy, what's the point? What's the point? Who cares? Why do I keep living? What if it's this energy that this new vibration is trying to bring you into of, hey, what's the point? Yeah, just feel that for a moment. What if you were receiving this energy not as a, oh, what's the point? This reality isn't working for me, but more as a, what's the point? Just feel that for a moment. You know, if there's one thing that I am super aware of in this reality is that number one, right? You are a infinite being and your body is a receiving organ, right? So you are always receiving information from everyone and everything. And this reality is talking to us right now. This reality wants us to awaken from the very core of who we are. This reality wants us to start living our truth and living what works for us and doing or being who we came here to be. And who we were living as even 7, 8 years ago is not who we can continue to live as. Because who we were in the third dimension is completely different to who we are going to be in the fifth dimension. And whether you believe what we're going through or not, you have to be feeling the shifts and changes that are going on in this reality right now. So essentially what we're experiencing is in December 21st, 2012, we had a Earth shift. The Earth shift 6 whole degrees, which was the first time that the Earth has actually shifted on its axis. Now, what's been going on since that date, December 12th, or December 21st, 2012, is the Earth's been continually shifting on its axis. And what that's doing is at the very core, it started at the very core of the Earth frequency, right? As the Earth started vibrating differently. Now, even they're saying that like the North and the South Pole at the end of this may even be like opposite, like the polarity of this Earth is shifting and changing. You are an Earth being, okay? You are experiencing that in your body. Now what's going on is it's changing the frequency of the Earth, okay? It's taking the Earth from this third dimension frequency that we have been vibrating in, that we've been living in for so long, and it's moving it up. We're going through the fourth dimension, and we're going to be landing or settling in the fifth dimension. Now, what happens, what the difference between the third dimension and the fifth dimension is, number one, everything's faster in the fifth dimension, okay? Our power to manifest, whether it's instantaneously, will be very, very fast, okay? So the first thing that really is required of you is you have to start to really wake up to the idea of what a powerful creator you are, okay? Your thoughts are creating your reality is not creating your thoughts, right? The way that you are thinking, the things that you are being or doing are actually showing up in your reality as a byproduct of where your thoughts are at. So every time you re-choose a certain emotion, every time you re-choose a certain thought, you solidify that stronger and stronger and stronger within the energy, space, and consciousness of who you be. And eventually, after you plant that energy for so long, it becomes something that, you know, you plant it, you grow it, you have it, right? It becomes an energy that you become. Now, this has always been a universal law, right? Ask and you shall receive. There's always been, you know, you you reap what you sow, or you sow what you reap. No, what is it? You reap what you sow, right? It's always been a law in this reality, but now as we're going up further and further and further in the dimensions here, we're getting closer and closer to the space of really truly that space of who we truly be. We've been locked in up in this limitation that we've been in this third dimension. That was not who we were. Literally, we've been under a spell, you guys. We've been under a spell. And what we're doing now is we're moving up and we're getting closer and closer to who we be. And this vibration, this frequency of what you're feeling, of what's the point is, what's the point? What's the point? What are you doing here? What are you creating here? This universe wants you to become more and more aware of what is your point. What did you come here to be or do? Who is the space of you? This is not a heaviness. This is an energy that's coming in to remind you that you have to find your point of being here. You have to start living in the lightness of who you be. There is no more this heaviness that we're perceiving in our bodies is trying to work its way out. And the more and more and more that you buy this heaviness as real and true, that you buy into this, the paradigms that keep you looping in this energy of upset, the deeper and deeper you're going in the heaviness. You don't want to follow the heaviness. You want to go to the lightness. I get it. And I know that it's not as easy as just saying, hey, you have to stop buying into those negative thought patterns in your head. You have to stop buying into the emotional intensity. I totally get it. And, uh, that's why I created Expand Your Reality Institute. I mean, you guys have been creating programs. I've been doing recordings just like this for, gosh, I don't, 6, 7 years. Okay, I have a plethora of clearings. So if you're feeling angry all the time and you don't know how to change that, I get it. I totally get it because I've been there. I know what it's like to function in emotional intensities and feel like you have no control over it. Because the reality is you don't. And this is what I think is so important for each one of us to get right now in this reality, okay, is when you're functioning within polarity, when you're functioning in a heaviness, whether it be sadness or guilt or shame or, anger or rage or whatever, right? Okay, each and every one of these emotional intensities comes with a whole slew of form and structure, significance. Really, it has all of this energy that is planted within the energy space and consciousness of who you be. And the thing is we're complicated energetic beings, okay? And so what happens is you really can't just decide. You may not. Let me rephrase that. You may not be able to just decide that you don't want to be angry anymore. Okay, I get that. And it's not as simple as, okay, you just have to stop choosing it because you may not even see that you even have a choice because you are so looped back into the polarity around that emotion. And I get it because I've been there. And this is what I've been doing for years now extensively, is helping people release the form and structure around emotion. Okay, so basically, essentially, you are really literally tied back into looping in that emotion. That heaviness that you're feeling in your body is because you are tethered to a heavy emotion. And, I've been recording this radio show now for, gosh, what I have probably like a year and a half, close to a year and a half. And I think I started in, it was either March or it was May. I can't remember which one it was, of 2018. But either way, I have a plethora of free audios, but I also have my Expand Your Reality Institute. It's at expandyourrealityinstitute.com. And at the Expand Your Reality Institute, I have a what I like to call my membership portal. And what my membership portal is it is there's audios after audios after audios in there of those places where you are functioning in that heavy emotion, whether it's guilt, whether it's shame, whether it's anger. I mean, literally I'm pretty sure there's probably over 100 hours in there right now. Not only is there just the emotional audios, but there's also audios about choice, about giving your children choice. There's also audios, there's lots of audios in there about money. I'm continuously making audios and putting audios in there. I just did an audio recently about ascension and put that in there. Plus, every single month I have 2 live group calls that you can join me with. And you can talk about anything that you're struggling with. And together we can process through it. And this membership portal right now you can join for only $36 a month, and it will change your life. I mean, these are audios. I have these audios are all from, a lot of them are from different programs. Some of them are new recordings that I've done. And these audios are audios that people have been listening to that have literally changed their life. What I really want you to look at here is you don't have to live in the heaviness. Okay, you don't have to live in this heaviness where you feel like you have no choice. It's easy to release yourself from the paradigms of this emotional heaviness. And you don't have to do it with my work. I mean, there's lots of people doing emotional releases right now, right? But what I want you to know is you don't have to live in this space where you feel like this reality doesn't work for you. This reality is trying to work its way in and get you into a space that works for you. You know, the faster and faster we vibrate, the faster and faster we become powerful creators of our reality, okay? The faster and faster we start manifesting our very reality. So what we're really going through right now is number one, you have to release that heavy emotion. You have to release those places where, that feeling that you've been feeling of like, I can't live like this anymore. This isn't working for me. That is a call to action, is a call to action from the universe. This energy of what's the point is a call to action. These are all call to action. These are not energies that you should be aligning with the heaviness. Heavy is never true. If you're feeling heavy right now, it's because you bought into something that isn't true. And if you're buying into this paradigm of what's the point as a heaviness, oh, what's the point? Why am I here? This is stupid. That's why it feels so heavy, because that's not real and true, okay? The truth of it is it's time to find the alignment of who you be. Yeah, and let's just take a nice deep breath. Nice deep breath, nice deep breath, nice deep breath. So as we're evolving here, our thoughts are becoming actual spaces faster. And in order to continue to evolve and to continue to uh, move forward, you have to become aware of and you have to release these paradigms of heaviness. You cannot exist in the fifth dimensional plane buying into energies that are not yours any longer. So much of what you perceive during the day, so much of what you're going through really is just a perception of energies as a whole. They really aren't yours. They really aren't um, your realities. Why are you here? What are you doing? That's what the universe is asking you right now. What's the point? Yeah. On that note, we are going to take a short break. And when we return, we're going to continue diving into this energy of what's the point? What is the point? So I will talk to you in just a few. And welcome back as we continue to dive into this energy of what's the point. I hope that you're starting to kind of change your mind about the heaviness of this what's the point, right? What if it really truly is this energy of, hey, what's the point? What are you doing here? What is your point in this reality? And what can you do to really align yourself within that point of what you're here for? So as we're really looking at this energy of what's the point, that's really what I want you to really go to is we have to stop functioning within this heaviness of this reality's, uh, I guess, just heaviness, this reality's emotional intensity. You know, I know, again, every one of us is functioning in different levels of polarity, right? Different levels of viewpoints, belief systems, rights, wrongs, goods, bads. And as we continue to evolve, as we continue to go up, through the fourth dimension and into the fifth dimension, it's more and more important that we are aware of how our actions, how our thoughts, how our the things we're telling the universe, how that's creating in our life. And this energy of what's the point, for me, every time you buy into that as a heaviness, every time you look at that as a, oh, kind of like as a, oh, I don't want to say like woe is me, because that feels like a very negative thing to say, and I don't feel like any of us are sitting around just feeling bad for ourselves, but I am aware that so many of us just to buy into whatever intensity we feel in our body, and we decide it's ours, and we decide it's negative, right? It's amazing to me how easy, I guess I'm going to say more than anything, how easy it is for us to pick up on something. And I'm just going to even take that example of what's the point and decide that that's a negative polarity, instead of even exploring with it and really even feeling in your body, hey, you know, when I'm hearing what's the point, is it what's the point, or is it what's the point? Do you feel how much lighter it is when you look at it with that intensity of like, hey, what's the point, right? What's your point? What are you doing here? Yeah, and everything all of that is, and everywhere you've bought it into it as a heaviness or as a hardness or as even maybe potentially a wrongness of you. Everything all of that is, all of that, 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 all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of universes? And can we just choose that now? And we're just going to clear that out of there. And vaporize, 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 vaporize. Yeah, just let all that go. What if these energies that you are receiving aren't meant to be internalized as a wrongness of you? Just think about that for a second. What if everything that the universe is giving you information about right now is not to make you wrong? Could you imagine? I know that going into feeling bad and wrong about you and about your choices um, is a learned behavior. I get that. You know, that's really mostly, I feel like, what this reality has taught us how to do is how to be wrong, right? How to make our choices wrong, how to make our thoughts wrong, how to make our feelings wrong, how to make our life wrong, right? We have 101 ways to swim in wrongness, and it's time to change that. Because you are not bad and you are not wrong. And nothing you did in this lifetime constitutes you to have the heaviness that you are carrying around with you. And my intention is not to make this show all about my Expand Your Reality membership portal, but I want you to know that you guys, you can change this. You can change this intensity of feeling so bad and so wrong about yourself by learning how to clear yourself out from underneath these heavy emotions that you're drowning in. You don't have to live in the heaviness of feeling bad about who you are. I'm just going to hold some space here. My Expand Your Reality membership portal at expandyourrealityinstitute.com is here to help you shift this. I guess for me, I try not to buy too much into being frustrated in this reality about the fact that there's so many of us that don't realize that we have other choices here. And I know that I personally have no control or no power over anyone in this reality, and nor do I ever want to. And I understand that every single person in this reality has their own choices, right? And for me, it's like I love ease. I love it. I love to know that I don't have to align within heavy emotions. I don't have to buy heaviness is real and true. I don't have to feel bad about myself. I don't have to. I had an interesting conversation with someone I love the other day. And this person was telling me how something that is showing up in their life without saying it was kind of saying it was partly my fault. And we talked about it. And I know that there was a time in my life when if someone that I loved and cared about came to me and was telling me how something that was happening for them was my fault, number one, I probably would have went into resistance and reaction. I probably would have gotten angry. I probably would have had all kinds of different emotions. And I was able to really just stay present with that. And I didn't even have to defend it. I just listened to what they said. And instead of even remotely even, I guess, aligning or agreeing or resisting or reacting, I just responded with how I changed the situation myself. And I feel like I do that a lot in a way where not even I am being the space of something different in this reality. And I get that it's not always popular to be the space of something different. We've been in this reality for so long in these lower levels of polarity, right? And it is popular to be miserable and to have everything go wrong and to have a bad day and to be, angry and rageful and everything is everyone else's fault. It's a popular way to exist here. And I get that. And I also get that much of what I'm doing and living in the lightness and living in these isn't necessarily a popular thing, and it's hard to talk about because there almost feels like a sense of wrongness attached to it, or a sense of secrecy attached to it, or a sense of something. And for me, it's like I go to this space where I try not to get caught up in it, but I just feel like, Why would anyone ever want to continue to identify within the heaviness any longer when there's the space of something so much greater available to us? And I get it. I get this the stuckness and the polarity of it. I get the form and structure around all of it. And I get the almost the addiction to feeling bad. The addiction to making other people wrong. The addiction to it being someone else's fault. Each and every one of us is here living a reflection of what we are telling the universe. And that energy is getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And the universe is telling us over and over and over, you cannot exist in this heaviness any longer. What is your point? What are you doing here? Where is your lightness? Where's your ease? What do you do with so much passion and joy and lightness? This is not a punishment, you guys. This is a call to action. It is time to live the life that lights up your body. It is time to find for yourself, not for anyone else, not for your neighbor, not for your children, not for your spouse, not for your grandma, not for your parents, for yourself. You know, I look at the 20 somethings right now and the teenagers right now, and I see this whole generation of children and young adults who are bucking the system because the reality that we have right now that is set up for us does not work for them. And not only that, but the reality we have is crumbling systems and structures and constructs and things that we have set up to live within the third dimension will not carry over to the fifth dimension. And these children, these teenagers, these 20 somethings, they are creating the future of what our reality is going to look like. And this feeling of heaviness and hardness and this push that we keep pushing against them, they have to do this, they have to do that, it doesn't work for them because they are not here to fit into this reality that we are trying to make them fit into. They are here to help us create the new one. The jobs they will be doing, the things they will be creating are things that we haven't even seen yet. You know, I was having a conversation on a group call the other day, and we were looking at, I mean, you guys look at just 20 years ago, how much different life was. We were talking about dial-up internet, right? You remember dial-up internet? I mean, look at even in the past 5 years. I mean, I started coaching 6 years ago or so, and there was hardly any people coaching. Remember how easy it was to be that, and it's still easy, but there's a totally different level because now it's like everyone, even on social media, right? People are changing. People are wanting to get out of these jobs that don't work for them any longer. People are wanting to have a different life because they're yearning for what is going to be created. And many of them are creating these new paradigms, these new places to go, these new things to choose, these new jobs to have. Have to stop fighting against the newness, and we have to just go with the flow and understand that what we are receiving is not meant to be a heaviness energy. It's not meant to weigh you down. It's just a conversation the universe is having with you. What's your point? What's the point of your life? Just melt into that vortex for a moment. That lightness of something that you feel coming into your body, and you're being in that place where you're going, you can't have that, you can't choose that. That's the energy you have to silence, not the energy of you. Not the energy that has subtly been telling you for maybe even years, this is what you need to do, this is where you need to go, this is what you need to choose. And I know it may seem like it's hard and heavy to do it. It's time to choose it with your thoughts, with your actions. The universe is telling you it's time. It's time to live in the lightness of you. Just going to keep vortexing that energy out. In nice deep breath. So what is the point? What is it that you have been yearning to choose that you haven't been able to choose? And that right there. And everything in the way of that. All of that, 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 all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of the universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. All I'm doing here is just releasing that energy that's in the way so you can receive it behind it. Yeah, nice deep breath. That unconscious programming that we're becoming more and more aware of, that's part of the heaviness that you're perceiving in your life is all of that stuff that you're continually looping in, and you're feeling yourself going, okay, this doesn't work for my life, I have to change this. And then you're feeling like you have no choice and you're doing it over and over and over. Yeah, that. Everything, all of that is right there. And all of that, 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 all of the energy in and around all of that. Can we just choose to remove all of that from all of universes? And can we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. This energy that we're experiencing right now, and I know I started kind of talking about that at the beginning of this call, this retrograde energy, for me, this is energy that's bringing up a lot of these old past patterns for us, right? All of these old places where we used to function, because when the planet retrogrades, it goes backwards, right? So it takes us back through a lot of these old past situations. And for me, this is an amazing time. It's an amazing time to not make yourself wrong for who you've been in the past, or not make these patterns wrong, but to really look at these patterns and say, okay, I've been and done those. That's part of who I've been. And, really surrendering to those energies and really allowing yourself to not feel bad. That's key. Okay, you can't feel bad about who you were or what you chose or what you did. We have to learn how to break that cycle. You cannot feel wrong. Wrongness is never going to choose to change anything, or wrongness is never going to change anything, because as long as you're in the pattern of making yourself wrong, you cannot actually have the information to make that better. And there's a certain energy of resistance that goes along with wrongness, right? When we start feeling bad about something that we did or something that we were, there's an energy of resistance against it because it feels really bad. So what happens with that is every time that we revisit a situation and we feel bad and wrong about it, we actually plant it as stronger and stronger and stronger. And I know that's where like guilt becomes debilitating, right? Where sadness becomes debilitating because we can't really actually look at it. All we can do is start to poke around the feelings of it, and it feels so big and it feels so hard and it feels so heavy. And I get it. I totally get it because I've been there. I know. I was on a group call and we were talking about these paradigms of wrongness, and I was saying, you have to stop buying into it. And one of my participants in the program reminded me that it's not always just easy to stop buying into being wrong, right? And she was talking about how it's taken her a lot of time of clearing, and I have to say it did the same thing for me, okay? There was a lot of clearing that was involved in not making me wrong, a lot, and I get it. So letting you know that is a space and a possibility that you can get into. So going back to this retrograde energy, backpedaling, we're backpedaling through a lot of very significant times in our life. And the key here is to be able to look at these experiences, number one, without making you wrong for experiencing it. And number two, to really be able to see the experience as a whole, not just the way that you experienced it, but the way that the experience was experienced by everyone. And once you get the full puzzle piece of it, once you can see the full vision of it, and you can see how, once you take the polarity off of it, once you take the wrongness or the rightness off of it, and once you just really allow yourself to have the awareness to be able to see it, it's like the whole puzzle piece, the whole puzzle becomes available to you. And once the whole puzzle becomes available to you and you're no longer making yourself wrong for your part in it, whatever your part was, you can release it. So this retrograde is going, these retrogrades, all these planets are going to start kind of waking back up here. And by the 31st, we're going to be completely through. I think it's all of the retrogrades are going to be done by the 31st. I'm pretty sure, or at least around the 31st, all of them will be done. And at that point, we're going to return to a different energy, right? Because we're not ever going to return to even where we were before the retrograde started, because we're moving up. And so this retrograde time is to really look at these patterns that are surfacing in your life right now, really looking at them without making you wrong, and really looking at them and being able to release the space of them. Yeah, and everything that doesn't allow that for you, all of that, can we just choose to remove all of that from all of universes, and could we just choose that now? And vaporize, 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 vaporize. I started recording in the Expand Your Reality portal some different calls. They're short calls. They're like 10, 15-minute calls, and they're about taking experiences where you're harboring pain. Like I just did one the other day about an emotional experience, right? And basically I just did some energy exercises that you can do. So if you have an emotional experience, let's just say that you are continually replaying. Now what happens is, every time you revisit that emotional experience, your brain does not understand that you are not actually physically having that experience. So all of the same chemicals, everything that you experienced the first time that you had that experience, all of that is basically reactivating within your body. Okay, so it feels like just like it did the first time you experienced it. Now what happens is, especially if this is an emotional experience that you've been playing for a really long time, is you have lots of points of view, and mostly probably wrongness about you, right? Maybe you feel shameful, you feel bad, you feel guilty, you feel angry with yourself, you feel all of these things about you, or maybe it's even about somebody else. Could be that as well, right? And what happens is every time you replay it, eventually, every time you replay it, you kind of add a certain level of resistance against it because it's painful. And so our natural body's reaction is to resist pain, right? We don't want to feel pain. And so what happens after a while is if you've been replaying that same story over and over and over, you may even feel a certain energy of numbness around it. You may feel like broken over it, right? And so anyways, so what I did was, so I recorded, like I've been recording these short audios of places where you have these pains, right? And basically I just did one and it was like a painful experience. And so I walk you through kind of an energy exercise that you can do for yourself to clear out that painful experience so you can stop planting that experience back into your energy space and consciousness. So when you think about that experience, you no longer have the same energy space and consciousness around it. So I'm recording a series of short 10, 15-minute audios about moving on, about releasing these energy patterns or these images that we're seeing over and over in our life. So I know today I've been talking a lot about the Expand Your Reality Institute, but I just really want to get this energy across that you guys, you can heal. You can. And it doesn't have to be this hard process where you have to dive into each and every one of these pains and anguishes, and you don't even have to contact the people. You can heal from an experience you had with maybe a parent or an old neighbor or a person that you maybe haven't even seen in 20 years, and maybe you're still replaying a painful experience that happened. Maybe it's someone you went to high school with, or an experience you had in grade school, or maybe it's a neighbor that you used to live next door to, and you're continuing to be the kind of the replay of that experience over and over and over. You don't have to anymore. You don't have to replay that experience. You can be free of it. You can release yourself from the polarity around it, and you can move on with your life without even having to talk to that person. And I'm not talking about just putting it away and never thinking about it again. I'm talking about really truly being free of the energy around it. And just think about how different your life would be if you let go of the guilt and the pain and the upset of the past. I was having a conversation with a client I've been coaching for almost a year now, and we were talking, and she said, if someone would have told me that this is how different my life would be, I don't know if I could even, I can't remember exactly the word that she used. And I guess what I'm getting at here is when you change the way that you function in this reality, when you stop reverting to the old pains of the past, and when you stop making you wrong for things that have happened and things you've done, you get to choose a completely different space in your life. And that's my invitation to you today. Find that space for you. And if it's not with what I do, that's okay too. But my stuff is here and it's available to you. And the Expand Your Reality Institute is such an amazing way right now to really truly release yourself from the polarity of this reality and from the polarity of yourself. I know so many of us are so ready, right? I know I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready with some fun and some joy and some intensity of let's get this party started. At the beginning of this retrograde, I really did I spent about 2 days with just myself and just really looking at the patterns that were reemerging, the patterns I was aware of, the things that I was perceiving in my world. And I really spent some time, I sat down with myself and I wrote things out, and I cleared and cleared and cleared. And let me tell you what, I've really been feeling amazing the rest of this retrograde. It's like, I so get it. Like, I so get where we're going. And there is not even a part or piece of me that is even willing to feel bad about this reality anymore, because I get it. This reality is really shifting and changing, and it's inviting you to shift and change with it as well. It's time, you guys. It's time to really get into the joy of having a body and really find the peace and ease that this reality has to offer you. So if you would like to join me on the Expand Your Reality Institute, you can at expandyourrealityinstitute.com. And sign up. The membership is $333 for a whole year right now, or $36 per month. I mean, I have so many amazing things to offer, not only in the Institute, but also my website, www.jamie-bates.com. So many amazing classes. I'm in the midst right now. Today is actually day number 7 of my 30 days of receiving money, and we are having tons of fun clearing out our viewpoints about money. Today we did money comfort number. We really looked at what have we decided is comfortable about money, and we cleared out a lot of that stuff, and then we did some receiving for $10,000. So during this 30 days, what we're doing is we're receiving different amounts of money and the energy that those different amounts of money bring up for us. So it's really been a fun experience. And you can also join me on that on my website, www.jamie-bates.com. It's only $33 for 30 days of money clearing audios. So yeah, I have lots of offerings, you guys. If you love my show, you will love an additional program, I guarantee it. You can also get a hold of me. You can email me through my website. You can also join my Facebook group, Expand Your Reality, in Facebook, where I shared awarenesses, things like that, with the group to really expand you beyond limitations. So thank you so much for listening to me today, and I will talk to you soon. Oh, also I have my other radio show, Conscious Thoughts, which is also on, I believe it's airing here on Cosmic Reality Radio, and also on Alternative Reality Radio. And that is airing Friday nights on Alternative Reality Radio at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you can check that out as well, and that is with called Conscious Thoughts with Jamie and Janine, with my co-host Janine Fleck. So thank you so much for listening to me today, and maybe you can check out Conscious Thoughts this week as well. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.
You have been listening to Expand Your Reality with your host, Jamie Bates. Thank you for listening.